As you know, Justin Trudeau flew down to Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's residence in Florida, which he's using sort of as his de facto White House. His transition team is hunkered down there. Howard Lutnick, the head of the transition team, also nominated to be Commerce Secretary. That's where they're vetting people, bandying about names. And Elon Musk is being hanging out there too, along with RFK Jr. It's sort of exciting to watch. Trump has a very high work ethic. He was campaigning for as much as 20 hours a day during the campaign, and he really didn't take a single day off. He went straight to work thereafter. I think he's really moving through it at a quick pace, and world leaders are calling him, and many are going to see him. And Justin Trudeau did that too. He did that after, as you know, Donald Trump made a tweet or a post to his own Truth Social, that's his own social media network, saying that if Mexico and Canada, and he lumped the two countries together, if Mexico and Canada didn't solve the border problem in two ways, stop illegal migrants and stop illegal drugs, both countries would be hit with a 25% tariff on all goods. Now, that is a shocking thing to hear. Mexico, within a day, got on the phone, the new president there, and basically gave Donald Trump enough to say, all right, mission accomplished. Mexico will no longer allow the mass migration, the caravans going through. I don't know exactly what they said. No one does. We weren't on the call. But it was enough for Trump to declare victory. And the Mexican president sort of had her feathers slightly ruffled, but mission accomplished. Can you imagine how that would flatten the Mexican economy? But understand, Trump was doing that as, if you read Trump's book, Art of the Deal, he describes how he negotiates. He makes outrageous demands to reset the conversation and to make the settlement look very reasonable by comparison. If you don't ask for everything, you're not going to get what you really want. It's some negotiation tactics that I found very interesting in that book, Art of the Deal. When he said that to Canada, I think a lot of Canadians thought, oh, he wants tariffs. I don't think you need to be an expert in negotiations to see Trump doesn't want a 25% tariff on Canadian goods. He wants us to do what he's threatening us the tariffs for. He wants us to secure the border. He wants us to stop migration, and there are some terrorists who've been caught coming over the border, and he wants us to stop the flow of illegal drugs that originate sometimes in China and go through Canada to the States. And the right answer is, sure, we will fix our borders. We would do that for our own interests, but happy to work with our American partners on that. I mean, happy to fix the problem of Roxham Road. It's amazing that Canada found a reason not to do so. I think the reason that Justin Trudeau didn't get on the phone and say to Donald Trump, sure, let's fix this. I think the reason Trudeau didn't do that is Trudeau's trying to figure out a way how to use this the next election. Can he campaign against Donald Trump in the upcoming election? Because that would be a lot easier for him than campaigning against Pierre Poilievre. Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives under him are in the 40s, almost approaching the 50% mark in polls, whereas Donald Trump is far less popular in Canada. So if Trudeau could find a way to frame the entire next election as standing up to Trudeau, he would probably do a lot better than if it was standing up to Pierre Poilievre, who Canadians have really come to be comfortable with. And not only is Donald Trump less popular than Poilievre, but it would put Poilievre in sort of a pickle, because Poilievre would probably feel compelled in some way to denounce or disavow Trump, just so he wasn't tarred as Trump's, puppet up here. It's a really interesting thing. But you can see that although Donald Trump hosted Justin Trudeau down at Mar-a-Lago, you could see that not everything was quite right. For example, how odd it was that Trudeau did not go down with his foreign minister, Melanie Joly. Don't you think that the foreign minister should come and meet a foreign country, a foreign leader, our most important ally militarily, economically? But I think that Trudeau knew that Melanie Joly would just embarrass everybody, and she didn't want him there. She'll be left for the unimportant files like denouncing Israel. Chrystia Freeland was not there either, even though she's the de facto PM in so many ways, because they knew that Trump just despises her. They brought Dominic LeBlanc, who's probably the closest thing to a competent cabinet minister, and of course Trudeau's chief of staff was there too. The photo, of the dinner looked friendly enough, but Trump published it, but he was not effusive in his praise as he has been for other leaders. And here's a clip of Fox News reporting from two sources who were at the dinner, who were clearly American sources, because Canadians would never have leaked this, that Donald Trump joked that if Trudeau didn't get his act together, Trump would turn Canada into the 51st state. Here's how that was reported on Fox News.
And tonight we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor. Right.
We'll have more on that detail with the panel. Peter, thank you. Minister making his way down south to Palm Beach, Florida, after the announcement that President Trump was going to levy some 25% in taxes, tariffs, if changes didn't happen. Now, I want to read from this. Peter Ducey referenced it, some amazing detail, according to two people at that table who heard the discussion. President-elect Trump, while cordial and welcoming, was very direct when it came to what he wants from his counterpart to the north. Trump said to Trudeau, paraphrasing here, Canada has failed on the U.S. border, allowing large amounts of drugs and people across that border, illegal immigrants from more than 70 countries. But President Trump was even more animated when it came to the U.S. trade deficit with Canada, that he put at more than $100 billion. He said if Canada can't fix those things, he will levy this 25% tariff on all Canadian goods on day one when he gets back in office. At which point, Prime Minister Trudeau says he can't do that because it'll kill the Canadian economy completely. And Trump asked, so your country can't survive unless it's ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion? Well, Trump said, maybe Canada should become the 51st state. Prime Minister Trudeau nervously laughed, as did others at the table, but Trump went on saying, Prime Minister is a better title, but you could still be governor of the 51st state. Then someone at the table said, Mr. President, that would be a very liberal state. To more laughter, President-elect Trump said, well, maybe we'll make two, a conservative one and a liberal one, but if you can't handle the list of demands without ripping us off in trade, then maybe you really should become a state or two and you can be governor.
Now, if you have been paying attention to Donald Trump in the last 8 years since he was president and then candidate and then president-elect, you'll know that Donald Trump makes jokes. He makes insults. He is an entertainer. And you don't even have to have followed him the last 8 years. Follow him before that. He was constantly doing media. He was a star of the hit TV show The Apprentice, and he has an entertaining style. So I think even if you don't find that a funny joke, I think you ought to know that that's a joke. I mean, that's the thing about jokes, is you don't have to laugh at them. But I think we can all acknowledge that that is a joke. And the reason that's funny, and the reason Trump said it, is because obviously Trudeau is weak, and Trudeau has made Canada weak, and Trudeau has put Canada in a position with not a lot of bargaining power. In fact, the one thing America most wants from Canada, our number one export to them, is oil. And Trudeau has basically declared war on oil, is jacking up the carbon tax, and through Stephen Guilbeault, seeks to have a production limit on the oil sands. That's not in Trump's interest. So I think that Trump looks down on Trudeau and what he's done. So he would make that joke. The only reason that joke works is because Trump disrespects Trudeau, and Trump sees that Canada is weak under Trudeau. That joke wouldn't make sense with Mexico. That joke wouldn't make sense with the UK or France. The only reason that joke is plausibly funny, if you think it's funny or not, is because there's a tiny grain of possibility to it. Of course, it's not for real. It just shows that Trump does not respect Trudeau.